This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil prices fell on Wednesday as an expected buildup of U.S. crude inventories outweighed a temporary halt in output at two large fields in Kazakhstan and geopolitical pressure from U.S. threats of tariffs over its bid to gain control of Greenland. Brent futures fell 97 cents, or 1.5%, to $63.95 a barrel at 0745 GMT. The U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude contract lost 78 cents, or 1.3%, to trade at $59.58 a barrel. Both contracts closed nearly $1 a barrel, or 1.5% higher, in the previous session after OPEC Plus producer Kazakhstan halted output at the Tengiz and Korolyov oilfields on Sunday due to power distribution issues. Strong China economic data was also positive.
Global liquefied natural gas, LNG, output is set to jump this year, easing constraints seen since the 2022 Ukraine war and dampening prices, which could spur demand including from top importers China and India, analysts say. This year marks the start of a large wave of supply that analysts expect to last until 2029, depressing prices that could drive more demand from emerging economies. 2026 is expected to be a transitional year for the LNG market, said Kapler. The market is expected to move away from tightness toward ample availability, with sufficient supply even as winter demand and storage needs emerge, particularly in Europe.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Spot premiums for Murban crude produced in the United Arab Emirates are hovering at their highest point in 2 months, supported by robust demand from Asian buyers to replace U.S. supply as the arbitrage has closed, according to trade sources. Indian refiners are also using Murban to substitute Russian oil, underpinning the price for Abu Dhabi's flagship light sour grade despite ample supply. The spot premium for March loading Murban stood at $2.38 per barrel to Dubai quotes on Tuesday, after touching $2.53 last Wednesday, its highest since early November, Reuters data showed.
China's crude oil imports from top supplier Russia fell 0.7% year-on-year in December to 9.33 million metric tons, or 2.2 million barrels per day, still the highest level for 2025. Imports from Russia fell 7.1%, or 2.01 million barrels of oil per day, to 100.72 million tons in 2025. China imported 80.76 million tons of crude oil from its second biggest supplier, Saudi Arabia, in 2025, or 1.62 million barrels of oil per day, up 2.7% year-on-year. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices extended their record run to breach the $4,800 per ounce level on Wednesday on safe haven flows driven by escalating friction between the United States and NATO over Greenland. Spot gold climbed 2.1% to $4,861.91 per ounce by 11:52 GMT, after scaling a record $4,887.82 earlier in the session. U.S. gold futures for February delivery climbed 2.1% to $4,864.80 per ounce. Spot silver rose 0.2% to $94.71 an ounce, after hitting a record high of $95.87 on Tuesday, powered by a cocktail of factors including sustained physical tightness and safe haven demand.
Shanghai copper ended off lows on Wednesday as investors shrugged off sluggish demand and the Shanghai Futures Exchanges, SHFE, moved to increase margin requirements for some contracts. The most traded copper contract on SHFE closed daytime trading up 0.04% at 101,280 yuan, $14,544.41, a metric ton, after dropping more than 1%. The benchmark 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange rose 1.10% to $12,894.50 a ton as of 0740 GMT.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
European Union soft wheat exports since the start of the 2025-26 season in July had reached 11.83 million metric tons by January 15, down 2% from a year earlier, though some figures were incomplete, European Commission data showed on Tuesday. A breakdown of this season's volume showed France was the largest EU soft wheat exporter with 3.84 million tons exported so far, followed by Romania, 3.75 million tons, Lithuania, 1.41 million tons, Germany, 894,526 tons, and Latvia with 694,050 tons. EU barley exports totaled 5.49 million tons, compared to 5.41 million tons a week earlier and up 112% from the corresponding period of 2024-25.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.